Hello and welcome to the Stephen J. Sports Podcast. This is episode 6, and on this episode, we're going to talk about the Hartford Stadium Authority, Rob Gronkowski, Peter Carmanos caught up in a financial hurricane, no pun intended, the NHL Finals, the NBA Finals, Steph Curry and the Olympics, and of course, you cannot forget Brock Lesnar. All here on the Stephen J. Sports Podcast.
All right.
Hello and welcome to the Stephen J. Sports Podcast. I am DJ Chef Steve, and this is the amazing Jay.
Yes.
And that song does not get old ever.
No, it doesn't. I love that song. I'm glad we chose that one for our introduction.
Me too. So how's your week this week? Anything interesting?
Oh, God. You know, the
Or
usual.
2 weeks, because we missed the Memorial Day.
Yes, Memorial Day.
I think you had a wedding, right?
I did. My best friend got wedding. No,
he got wedded.
He did get wedded.
He got wedded.
He went and got married out in Avon Old Farms Hotel.
Oh.
It was outside.
Hockey farm out there.
Yes, it was very nice. A little hot being in a suit, but that's okay. Yeah. The nice part is he gets to do it with me all over again next week.
Yep, for yours.
Yes.
That's it. He's getting married.
Yep.
For me, I DJ'd this weekend at Alyssa's grad party, a friend's grad party. Did a little karaoke. We did a little, Walk the Moon, Shut Up and Dance with Steve.
Oh, gosh.
Changed the lyrics.
That never gets old.
Never gets old. That's the only song I sing, and when I mean I sing, I talk it. But other than that, today we have our first and only guest today. We're not doing quadruple guests, and it is Joey DeDominicis. And he is coming from Manchester, Connecticut, and he is a baseball coach, player extraordinaire.
The whole 9 yards.
The whole 9, he's the full package, and I think he is an eligible bachelor, so...
nice.
We can put his number down in the bottom just to get everyone going. So
that's the new thing we're going to start doing on our show is
it could
the
be
bachelor.
A dating thing.
You can do that. I don't have a problem.
All right.
How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
We're doing good.
Congratulations, Jay, on your wedding. I didn't know that.
Yep.
And I didn't get the orange shirt memo.
No,
I'm a little hurt about that.
He missed the memo. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So tell us a little about yourself. How did you get into baseball, and how did that all start?
Well, I've been playing baseball pretty much since I've been 8 years old. I came up through town ball, played all the way through high school, played some college ball, and then I found a love in coaching. So baseball has always been in my blood. It was really the only sport I really had a love for, and I've stuck with it ever since, and here I am today, still involved in the game as much as I can.
That's awesome. I mean, I went to school with you at Cheney, and you played for Cheney, right?
I did for a couple years, I had a great experience over there. Gary Marino was the coach. He coached over there for 19 years, won over 300 games, and I learned a lot from him.
Yeah,
I learned.
And just in the news, they just renamed the press box after his daughter.
Yeah, I was actually there.
Nice.
I was there at the ceremony a couple weeks ago. And they dedicated the press box to his daughter. She passed away in 1997, and so they dedicated the press box to his daughter. And I think it's pretty cool because he's not coaching there anymore. So I think it says something not only about his daughter and his family, but it says something about himself.
Right.
Because he's not at the school anymore, and they really that was a really nice thing, and it was nice to be there. They called all the former baseball players out onto the field, and they played a little game. And it was nice.
Yeah.
It was real nice. It was special.
Yeah, I saw it on the news on WFSB. I watched a little, video on it, and it was nice.
Yeah.
So now what are you doing with baseball currently? Or in the past out of playing, what are you doing for coaching? What teams and whatnot?
Well, as soon as I played, like I said, I played my youth. And when I was 16 years old, I ended up, town ball was pretty much over for me. I ended up playing Babe Ruth baseball, and then after that I kind of followed in my father's footsteps. My father brought me up playing baseball, and he taught me everything I know about the game, and I started coaching with him, and sooner than later he let me take over, and so
awesome.
I started coaching and working with the kids, and it's really become my life at this point.
Working
with kids and teaching them about not just only the game of baseball, but teaching them about life skills and commitment and responsibility is that's what I do now. And
not just sport; it's more of a life skill.
It's really more of a life skill, and the talent and the learning the game comes after that. A lot of kids nowadays, they really need to learn commitment and responsibility.
Yep.
So I think that is the most important.
And this is mainly in Manchester, is that right?
Right now I'm coaching a 16U wood bat travel baseball team called the Connecticut Mayhem. They're out of Manchester, and but we take kids from all over.
Okay.
I'm coaching a team right now where I have, I believe, about 6 or 7 different towns.
Oh, wow.
A variety of kids. 15 and 16-year-olds. I got a couple 14-year-olds, and we travel all around the state. We play in tournaments. We're going down to Delaware in August to play in Sports at the Beach tournament. And that's the big tournament.
Sounds awesome.
That sounds cool. You could have stopped there and be on the bus.
It's in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and it's a beautiful area. I've never been. This is my first year with the Mayhem, but I've heard great things about it, and there's a lot of competition down there, and I think it's a nice getaway for the kids to not only just play baseball but bond as a team outside of right here in Manchester or right here in Connecticut.
Right, and you get to meet so many other people.
You get to meet other people, and you get a lot of connections with other coaches and parents of other teams, and I think I'm looking forward to that the most this year. Besides developing my team, obviously, because this is my first year with these kids, and a lot of these kids have already been through the program since they've been 13. So a lot of these kids have been here 3 or 4 years, and now what I'm doing is I brought a couple other kids in through town ball that I've been coaching through the years. So I've mixed in a few different kids and different talent level, and I think that's good for these kids, especially the kids that have been there in the past, to see some new faces and work with some new kids. And the number one thing that I try to work on when I'm working with my kids is I try and build a family. You know what I mean? I try and get my kids to all unite. Whether this kid doesn't get along with that kid or this kid doesn't like that kid, I tell the kids, you're here to play as a team. And you have a responsibility not just on the field but off the field, picking players up, helping them, because a lot of kids get down on themselves at this age, 15, 16 years old. A lot of kids don't have the confidence that, a lot of them really should, So, I think that's the most important thing, building a family and making sure these kids can unite, not just on the field but off as well.
That's awesome. I know you've taken them out after games. I've seen on Facebook, when they win and such, or and kind of keep it as a family thing. It's
the family atmosphere. It's the most important thing, man, because when you get to the higher level of baseball, you still want that family atmosphere, of course, but at the same time, the most important thing right now is getting these kids on the same page with each other. So I think that's very important.
So when did you start coaching?
I started coaching in 2006, the fall of 2006. I started.
Okay, so you were still in high school.
I was still in high school. I was a junior in high school, and was I a junior or sophomore? Wow, it's passed me by now. Sophomore, I think. I think the end of, or I think the beginning of my junior year, because it was the fall of 2006.
Right.
So I started working with kids just in town, Manchester Babe Ruth baseball, and I'll tell you, I met a lot of great people there. Kids, parents, coaches, umpires, and I've taken it to the next level now that I'm coaching AAU baseball. So we're traveling, and we're seeing some competition, and it's different here where I'm coaching now because these kids are all signing up. They're committed to play and they want to play. A lot of the younger kids, they're just there. They want to learn the game, and that's fine. That's great. I think that I respect that a lot. But where I am now is more of a higher competition level. And the kids take it a little more serious.
So speaking about all that stuff, have you played any other sports?
It's funny. I've played sports throughout my entire life. I've played pickup games, and I've gone on the field. I've played soccer. I've played basketball. I've played some football, flag, touch, whatever you want to call it, tackle, just for fun. But the only organized sport I've ever played on a team is baseball. I've never signed up to play on any team in any sport other than baseball.
Just driveway basketball.
Just driveway basketball, or down the park, or
street hockey,
recess,
or
just little things like that. I golf in my spare time. I picked that back up in the past couple years. I golfed when I was younger. I probably thought I was better than I was.
Golf is always one of those sports that I feel is like you could get in a cart with 2 to 4 of your friends. and you could go around
Yep.
and just have fun, and no one else is watching you because
Yeah.
you're too far away.
Exactly.
Which is why I love golf.
And the great thing is that you can hit so many balls into the woods, and as long as you have enough balls in your bag, you can keep playing.
Keep going.
and nobody's really going to know.
No.
You know?
Where like all other sports, it's all the fans sitting there watching you.
Right.
You're surrounded by people.
Right.
So I like golf because it's peaceful.
It's freedom, man.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Golf is it's thinking time. Like if you get out on the golf course, it's you know you have a nice day and you're out like you said with a couple friends. It's a nice time out. So I picked that back up actually last summer, and I went a million times. And I hadn't been in years before that.
Yeah,
I just went for my first time last summer, and I went like twice.
I
enjoyed it. I loved it.
I love it. My bag's sitting there, and I have not gone yet, and I need to get out.
It's a hard game, man.
I'm dragging you out.
It's a real hard. Yeah, we should all go. We
that's it. We should do a little video out on the course.
Yeah, I'll be a little rusty. I haven't golfed since last summer. I haven't been out yet.
Me too.
With the weather we've had this spring, it hasn't been really ideal
been odd,
for it. But
so
yeah, it's been bad.
So other than sports, another thing that I know you love is cooking.
Yeah.
I know because I went to Cheney with you, and we went to culinary.
Boy, we had some times there.
Yeah, we had. I really hope Chef isn't watching, but we had some wrestling matches. Some people in garbage cans.
Yes, we did.
Not food fights as much as spilling the chili on Ben.
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
Yeah,
I'll never forget spilling the chili on Ben. I don't really think I spilled it. I think I threw it at him.
Yeah,
but that's another story.
Just in case Chef was watching, and she was wondering what that quote was in the yearbook.
Oh, right. Tallywhacker, right?
Yeah, tallywhack.
Yeah, I found a love for cooking even before high school. Before I went to Cheney and I met Steve here. I was always in the kitchen. My grandmother, my mother. I come from an Italian family, as you probably can see from my last name.
Couldn't tell.
And I really couldn't stay out of the kitchen because I love food. I think it's really interesting when you can put a bunch of different things together and come out with this creation that you could just serve. And the great thing about not just cooking is serving people food. It's like seeing their reaction, seeing what they think about what you made and what you put together. So
that's one reason why I love cooking is just.
And I wish I could do it every day, but I don't. I do it as much as I can.
I don't. Even though I do almost.
Even though you're in the kitchen a lot. Yeah.
It's fun. It's awesome. It's rewarding.
Fun. It is.
But it's nice to mix it up and, do sports and stuff like that. Or like what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
Like, I can't complain. This is awesome.
Yeah. Nice Monday night podcast.
Yeah, you can't. You can't.
Definitely no complaints right now.
Talking sports.
None. Other than that, do you remember your first MLB game?
Yeah, I went to Yankee Stadium. I'm a Yankees fan. I went to Yankee Stadium. Oh, yeah.
No, it's okay. I'm a Yankees fan, so this is nice for once.
Yeah, at least I got one more with me. I believe the year was 1998. I went to my first Yankee game, and I was just amazed at how big of a stadium Yankee Stadium was. At the time, their old stadium.
Yeah, their old one, yeah.
And I was just like, wow, this is amazing. This is where these guys come to play ball every day, and I go down the local park. It's just... No fence, no dugout, no anything, and it's like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I think that's kind of where I really began my love of baseball. I began that a couple years before, but going to Yankee Stadium for the first time was just something I'll never forget. We sat in right field behind Paul O'Neill.
Paul O'Neill,
he was the right fielder at the time, and he's out there taking his practice swings while they're in the field, and I just. It's things like that you don't forget.
Yeah, you know what that makes me think of is Paul O'Neill's. Is the Yankee Mambo.
Yeah, with Paul O'Neill and Bernie Williams.
Yeah, Bernie is another one. I love Bernie.
Burn. Yeah.
Minus, his or not him. I think, what am I thinking? Darryl Strawberry?
Oh, yeah, Darryl Strawberry.
I'm thinking Darryl Strawberry.
I have respect for Darryl Strawberry, though, because
I like
he
him,
cleaned himself up.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but those guys were that was 1998 was classic Yankees. Like growing up as a Yankee fan, if you grew up as a Yankee fan, like you're talking late 90s, early 2000s were the Yankees' years, and unfortunately, the Yankees don't really have the same squad they did back then. But I always have faith in my team. I never give up, and so you never know what's going to happen.
No, you don't.
In any sport,
you really don't. Never know. It's always right there for you.
It's always a toss-up.
Yeah.
Especially in a sport like football. Where there's time on the clock. Like, you never know what's going to happen.
Nope.
Right.
As long as there's time, there's still time.
Exactly. Exactly. So I never give up on my team. That's one thing.
All right. So with that being said, let's move on and talk a little sports now. Now that we know you,
Absolutely.
Now let's see what you know about sports.
Absolutely. Let's see.
No, we're not quizzing you actually. But one of the first things that came today, which I find interesting, is that Steph Curry is opting out of the Olympics, and he's not going to play in the Olympics for Team USA.
Yep.
It's okay. They still got plenty of talent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they got plenty of talent for sure.
Now, do you think it's a good move by him? His reasoning was due to his injuries on his knees and his ankle injury recently.
Well, I think it is a good idea because he wants to stay sharp for the franchise that they have right now, the strong franchise
which
they
is
have going right now.
Obviously phenomenal.
It's something you don't want to, you don't want to get hurt playing in the Olympics. The Olympics is a great event, of course, but you don't want to get hurt playing in the Olympics and then miss out on your season next year or possibly more than one season. So I think in that aspect, I think it's a good idea. But
do you think it's a good business decision or a good love for the sport? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think he's just...
And I'm not judging him. I'm just...
I think he's thinking more about his team than he is himself.
Which is great.
Which is a great thing because... he could go out there and play. He's had the season he's had this year, and he's always been good. But after the season he's had this year, I think he's making a pretty bold decision by not going down there, especially after the way he's played this year and the way his team's played. So
because he won't have a chance for another 4 years now.
Right, and that's a tough decision. But again, he's young, and I think he has time. And I think what comes first and what's more important is the Warriors. He's got a team that he's committed to there, and he's got to be in the best shape to play for them. But that's a tough decision.
That. Yeah,
that's a very tough decision to make. I wouldn't want to have to make that decision.
No,
I would actually. I'd want to have the offer to play in the Olympics and also play on a possibly championship-winning team.
This is his first offer to go to the Olympics.
Right.
This is his first one. Now, if this was me,
I'd take it.
I'd take it. I wouldn't care. Like, I mean, I can say that because I'm not a professional. I'm not getting paid millions.
Easier said than done.
I'm not on a team.
Right.
But I would be like, to play for the country? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if I go down, like, I would just do it. I would do it. I would find a way to
just represent.
To do it, because that would be awesome. That's like amazing to be able to go and do, and for you to get that offer and have to turn it down. And he talked to his family, you know, his coach. He talked to everybody.
Oh, I'm sure he thought it out pretty well.
He did, and it took him a long time. And I'm not discrediting him at all. Yep. It's just like I could not make that decision to know, because like right now, if someone said that to me, like I'd be like, even if I had I have a bum foot,
I'd make a quick reaction. I'd be like, yep,
I'll go.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I'll be there tomorrow.
I'll tape it up. I'll do whatever.
Yep.
I won't walk for a week.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll go.
Yeah, why not?
I'll play one game, and if I could contribute one game, that it's good enough for me.
That's a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jay? What would if you were in that situation, what would you be thinking? What would you think, first of all? Would you be like, well, I got to think about my team, or?
I'd say screw it and I'd just do it.
Yeah, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I understand him because he's young and he is like literally the next Michael Jordan right now.
Yep.
You know.
I think it's a good thing we won't see him just because we don't have to see the Steph Curry show going on in the Olympics.
Yeah.
It gives that chance to see everything else.
But it would be interesting to see Steph Curry in a different element.
No, don't get me
playing
wrong.
Around the team
I would, but I'd still think he would try and make it all about him.
Yeah.
Well, especially after the season.
Right. Well, speaking about that, tomorrow is Game 3.
Yeah, man.
And
Game 3.
What do you think is going to happen? I mean, this is a must, in my opinion.
In Cleveland, right?
Game 3, when you're down 2-0, is a must win for the other team.
Absolutely.
And it's at home in Cleveland. They have to win it.
Don't worry, they will. You want to know why?
Are you a LeBron fan? You are a LeBron fan.
I am a LeBron fan, but, as we all know nowadays, it all comes down to the NBA making their money off of TV time.
Yeah, got to have the extra game.
I mean, that's how the NHL makes any of their money.
No, correct.
Got to have the extra games. Got to sell the merchandise. Got to.
It's just your typical NBA series where we're gonna win our first 2 at home, and then we're gonna lose our first 2 on the road.
Yeah,
and then we're gonna go back and forth with
and then we're gonna play 7 games.
Yeah, we're gonna play our 7th game, and somehow
it's true because you know what? Sweeps don't make any money.
No,
they don't,
and they're not interesting to watch.
No,
You know,
and that's
they're
another
not
But that is
which
what
also
that,
does not make money.
But that is what the Cavs did.
Yeah.
The Cavs did do that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times if a team's up 3-0, people are going to turn on the TV and watch the game. A lot of people will to see if that team still has a shot. Or
If they have an interest in that team, they'll watch it because they're like, let's see them win.
Right.
But majority, if they don't, they're like, the odds of that happening are very slim. I mean, that only happens against the Bruins.
Yeah.
They were up 3-0 against the Flyers and they got knocked out.
Yeah.
Like that's and
Yeah,
sorry,
let's
and the
not go
Yankees.
there.
I don't mean to bring it up, but I mean
let's
that's
It can happen, you know.
it can happen. So it's
And,
like, but it's very very rare. I think
I don't see it happening this year just
honestly,
because of the season. That the Warriors have been so strong this
Yes.
year, and I don't see anybody. It's going to take a lot to take that team down. It's going to take
they
more than
won,
LeBron, and it's
But
going
the
to take
weird
more
thing
than
is
anybody.
the Cavs figured it out the first 2 games last year in the finals.
Right.
what
But they weren't playing the
the
Warriors. They weren't playing Steph Curry.
Yes,
and, you know,
correct.
I'm not saying I'm not trying to.
But yes and no though. It wasn't a phenomenal season
Yeah, but-
like this year that he had, but they still had. He was still doing excellent.
Right.
They figured out a way the first 2 games. They didn't have Kyrie Irving. They didn't have Kevin Love. Now we get the both of
And,
them in there, and now we don't know what to do when we're at Golden State.
And Love might be injured.
Yeah,
a little
and
bit.
now
Yeah,
Love
Love's
has a
out.
concussion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Love's out.
So-
he traveled with the team.
Yeah.
He's back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So
He's not playing though.
right.
That'd be too risky. Let's just save him for maybe game 4. If anything, he comes back for game.
But I mean, look
Yeah,
at
you want to be
look
careful
at,
with a
look at,
concussion.
For game
look at
5.
last night. You win by 33 points, the most ever
And the first game was.
But that's all they've been doing.
The first game was.
That's
I
all
think,
they've been doing
all season.
all season.
Except for the last
First
the
game
last
was like an
series was a little
18-point game, too, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
Right.
But the last series was a little closer. You know, that was a little. That was it.
And that was over 2 people, KD and Westbrook.
Yeah.
So I still think that Warriors are taking it tomorrow night.
Oh, I do too.
As much as I would love to see Cleveland take it just to get the competitiveness back in the game, I don't think there is any competition right now because last night they got behind and Cleveland gave up. They gave up.
But they were behind game 1 and they came back.
I think Cleveland takes one game, if that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say sweep because you never know.
No.
I always give the
Yeah.
other team at least a game, but
and then my boy's going back to South Beach.
South
geez.
Beach.
He's going
does that again.
He's going somewhere. They lose this series.
He's gonna go to LA.
somewhere.
He's gonna rebuild the Lakers, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're gonna build that.
He's gonna be
frickin',
like Kobe. Who? Kobe what?
Yeah.
I'm Kobe
Yeah,
now.
I don't think
They're,
that'll ever
they're gonna
happen.
build that dream team that they were talking about.
Oh, God. As long as he doesn't think he's Kobe, I'm fine with that. As long as he goes
Yeah,
to
I
LA and
agree.
be like, "Hey, I'm the new Kobe," then you do what you have to do.
They're too young of a team for him to be going out there.
Yeah.
Way too
Yeah.
young.
Yeah.
Moving on with all of that, let's go on to the NHL finals. I don't know how much of you guys have watched, but NHL finals are tonight at 8 o'clock. And it is the Sharks against the Penguins, and the Penguins are leading 2-1. The Sharks won 2 days ago now to not even the series, but to get it to 2-1. And I think the Sharks are going to tie and even the series tonight 2-2.
I heard it was late in the game though when they
It was extremely late,
can't be doing that.
but it's been one of those kind of goaltending series. You know, it hasn't been too much high scoring and all that. But the only thing that's dangerous about the Penguins is
Crosby.
well, no, you know,
Well, you always have
yes,
him as a
but
factor,
yes, you can't count him out. Even though I wish I could, because I respect him as a player, but I don't like Crosby.
He's
You know,
just, he's
as
just
wrestling
like,
fans-
he's a LeBron hater too.
As wrestling fans, though, the Penguins have a line that is called the HBK line.
Yeah, I think that's cool. You just told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Heartbreak Kids line, and it is a Carl Hagelin, which actually I watched in Hartford. He played for the Wolfpack, went to the Rangers, got traded to the Penguins this past season. Nick Bonino, who's actually from Hartford, Connecticut.
Nick Bonino.
Nick Bonino.
Yep.
Hey, get on the show, Bonino.
Nick Bonino.
Come on.
And Phil Kessel, who got traded from the Bruins, not traded, he left the Bruins, and the Bruins went and won a Stanley Cup after that. And, you know, screw you, Phil. But
Not having him on.
it's a cool, yeah, no. it's a cool line of young kids. I mean, they're like 26, 27 tops. One of them's 23.
Now, why did they name it after HBK? Because he's from Texas, so what was the relation?
Because they are the Heartbreak Kids.
Okay, right. Okay, so they made the Heartbreak Kid line.
Because
I like that.
They got one of them's got the flowing hair. Carl's got the flowing hair.
I like that.
Nick Bonino's is 24. He's just young and he's a stud.
I hope Shawn Michaels is supporting the team.
He did. They made him a shirt. They made him a jersey for game 1 or 2. I can't remember. Cool. He came out to game 1 or 2. Shawn Michaels was there. The shirt, the HBK.
Cool.
All of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It really was kind of cool. But I
probably brought a lot more people to the game than that were already there in general.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Shawn Michaels is there. Cool.
Yeah, right. Just from that. But other than that, another thing is Peter Carmanos. He was the owner of the Whalers in Hartford years ago, and he moved them to Carolina for the Hurricanes, and guess that didn't really work out for him, considering he had to borrow $300 million from the NHL.
I never even knew you could borrow money from the NHL.
I didn't either until this article. Oh, but that's not it, right? His sons are suing him for $100 million.
Nice.
So, aren't you happy you moved, Peter? This couldn't have happened to any better of a man than Peter Carmanos. I'm happy for you.
Listen, I'm happy because I think I know where I'm going to get my next personal loan.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to go through the NHL.
Yep. And because of that loan, the NHL is probably going to have to sell the Hurricanes and relocate them in order to recoup their $300 million, which they're not going to get probably all that back.
No.
And they're doing relocations and all that, but they're also going to do an expansion, which they already approved Las Vegas to be one of the expansion teams. So let's just say if Carolina does move and they do that, that leaves not many markets that are, first off, want an NHL team and that are suitable for an NHL team. So that kind of brings it back down. I mean, Hartford, hey, Gary Bettman, we're always here.
Yes.
We'll take a team. Probably won't hold it for long.
Hartford's been waiting for something for a while.
Yeah. Well, and speaking about Hartford waiting for something,
we're waiting. We're waiting.
The Hartford Stadium Authority that is working with the Yard Goats, they terminated their contract with the developer today.
I heard about that today. Yep.
Yes, I was. They even interviewed the developer on Channel 3 today. I was watching that before.
I bet he was in a great mood.
That was probably a great decision to make. Because,
definitely.
But you know what? No, the first decision that was stupid. It is the town's fault. You know why? Because they chose a developer that has never built a baseball stadium ever.
Is that right?
They've never built a baseball stadium. Okay. So what do you expect for their first time going out and building it?
They're not going to meet that.
Now he's going to be bankrupt.
You're not going to.
They're not going to meet that
in a year. And you know what? New Britain's sitting there and they're laughing.
Yeah.
Like,
heck yeah.
Well, and they brought another team in, and I'm happy they did.
Go Connecticut Bees.
You know, because I kind of felt bad for the community around New Britain because they had the Rockettes there for many years.
I remember going all the time.
I was going since a little boy, and I couldn't believe they moved out of there. Couldn't believe it, and I'm happy they brought something else in there.
And
it's not AA ball, but it's still good baseball. So.
And I'm happy for New Britain because that's just that's terrible.
They needed something because that's a beautiful field, and you can't leave that open. And like I said, the community around there was left with a major void.
Right.
But as far as the Hartford thing goes, that's frustrating.
For everybody.
A lot of people were not all on board with them moving to Hartford, but I was okay with it just because of the fact that I'm a baseball fan.
Yeah.
And if there's a ball game going on,
it's a little bit closer to home for you.
You know what? I don't care about traffic. People talk about traffic, and people talk
about it all the time.
Well, and there could be a lot of issues with that. Don't get me wrong. But if I'm going down one Thursday night or Friday night to a game, I'll sit in 15, 20 minutes of traffic, whatever.
It's Hartford, first of all.
It's Hartford. You're going to have traffic anywhere. You know?
Yeah. I mean, and if you're not going for a job, there's no traffic.
Exactly.
Nothing is open.
Exactly.
I go to hockey games all the time.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of traffic. You just got to figure it out. Just like going to any other sporting event.
Exactly.
You go to any other sporting event, you figure out what the traffic is, and you still go.
Yeah.
But they're not right off the highway, though.
Right.
Well, they kind of are.
This is right off the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't find many issues with that.
No.
I mean, you know, the majority did, but I was okay with it. And I'm just upset that they're not going to be there. I don't think they're going to be playing there this year, especially with everything that went down today.
Now that they cut, they're not playing this year.
They said today something about I think it was past June.
Well, and
they said they cannot play. They can't play at Norwich anymore past June.
Wow.
So now they're working with other major league teams to see what in the East what can be done so these guys can keep playing their season.
That's terrible for them.
That's rough because they were supposed to come. They were supposed to be here at the beginning of the season, and they moved it up.
Yep.
They moved it back to June. And now they were a couple of days ago. They were saying another 60 days, and I guess that's why they made this move today because 60 days the season's over.
Right.
Double A baseball is over.
Well, they said in
September.
August the season's supposed to be over.
And end of August is the end of the season. So in Double A ball, so there's really no point to bring them here now. It's just going to be more of a tease for fans, and then people are going to grow on the team, and then 2 weeks later it's going to be gone.
Yep. It's not worth it marketing.
And they're having the perfect season too, but
they're having a great season,
but no stadium.
They're having a great season, and I feel bad, but. Someone made a big boo-boo there, and it's just
I guess we're gonna
taken care of.
We're gonna be going down to Norwich for one game, I guess, this month.
I'm I'm definitely gonna make a game because I want to see them in their first year.
Yeah. Well, talking about making moves, Brock Lesnar is coming out of retirement for UFC 200 in Las Vegas.
That's crazy.
And as us being wrestling fans, we know Brock very well. And he's going to go back to UFC.
He said it's been living with him. He says, I haven't told my wife. I haven't told nobody.
It's supposedly been in the contract since last April. And when he signed a contract back with the WWE in April, he was with them.
Yes.
And he was trying to make a decision whether to go back to UFC or not. And he signed that contract and said he was going to stay with WWE. And then a couple days ago, all of a sudden, everybody's talking about UFC 200 and Brock Lesnar. And now he's fighting on July 9th. And I'm like, well, who's he fighting? Because... who is going to beat?
It's Mark. They had it on.
It's Mark Hunt.
Yeah, and I've never heard of him.
I'm not going to lie.
I don't follow UFC.
Right, I don't follow it either.
I like the sport. I respect the sport. I don't follow it, though.
But
I'm more of like the entertainment type of guy. I like to be surprised with like multiple different things one after another, and that's why I watch WWE.
You know what makes it so interesting is like WWE allowing him. Yeah. Because they don't allow...
Well, they signed that contract. Back then is when they did it, and I guess the contract said whenever you want. Right. It's whenever you're
that's
you're
crazy
because
WWE doesn't do that with anybody.
No.
This is
it's a big injury risk.
And Brock's quote is, "I'm a crossover athlete. I'm the modern day Bo Jackson."
I love that. And you know what? He could probably... Bo Jackson used to take... I don't know if you guys know, but he used to take a baseball bat after he struck out. He would take a bat over his knee. And he'd snap it. Brock Lesnar could probably take 14 of them and snap it over his knee.
And he's a beast.
He's a beast. And
what I didn't know until he was talking about in his interview today about this whole thing is that he has a farm up in Canada.
Yeah, he's a farm man.
I knew he did in Minneapolis, but I did not know that he had a place up in Canada as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that either. I did not know that. I know he lives in Minnesota, and I know he has the ranch up there. Yeah, he's a big-time farm boy. He's a hunter, and he's an outdoor.
You know what's even crazier, though? Is he's going to even wrestle at SummerSlam.
Yeah, he's going to come right back after that.
Back on SummerSlam.
Yeah, and they're going to... You know what they're going to do? They're probably going to just promote...
He's
going to come back before this UFC fight. He's going to come back to the WWE before the UFC fight, in my prediction. And they're going to promote this UFC fight in the WWE. They're working together.
Between Tap Out.
They're working together.
WWE.
Yeah, and everybody was like, well, Dana White and Vince McMahon will never work together. Well, they'll never work together, but they'll promote each other. They'll help each other out.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're going to do. Lesnar's going to come back before this whole July 9th fight.
You know what's crazy about UFC? And you know what? I can't believe Vince let Brock do this, because back in the day, Shane McMahon's idea, back in the day when he had arguments with his father outside of like the show, Shane wanted Vince to buy UFC,
right?
And Vince is like, no, because UFC wasn't anything. And then now look at it now, and look at it. And instead, Vince got into the XFL, the Extreme Football League, and
look how that worked out, right?
Wait, what? Right. What's that?
So he probably
what's that?
He could have put UFC down.
He could have. But look at what he's doing with wrestling.
But then again, you don't know. I don't know, because
it's two totally different
things, and that's the thing. It's like a lot of people compare the UFC and the WWE, and you really can't.
Nope. No. UFC is two totally
real.
Different
things. The UFC, it's fighting, and wrestling is there's fighting involved, but it's it's in a way where they're prepared to do different things. So
So the important question: who's gonna win versus Brock Lesnar and Mark Hunt? Who do you think? You?
Oh, Brock Lesnar.
Okay, you.
There's no doubt.
Brock
about it.
Lesnar.
All right.
I took a look at the guy this morning
But
online.
it comes down to, is he going to be in enough shape in such little time
All right.
to be ready to go?
Oh yeah, I think he will.
I think Brock Lesnar.
Just being Brock Lesnar.
But I got one more person I have to ask. All right.
Really?
So Paul Heyman, who do you think is going to win this fight?
You can't beat Brock.
All right. Well, that
Paulie
sums it
has
up.
spoken again.
That sums it up. I agree. I'm sorry, Mark. You can't beat him. That's just all.
I don't really miss that voice though, so
Sorry.
it's okay.
But so Brock Lesnar, I swear he takes it and he goes to SummerSlam, and after that, I bet you he's gonna take a title of some sort. I
Don't
wouldn't
say
doubt
that,
it.
man.
That's
Don't
all right.
say
We'll still see him
that-
at
You're talking
WrestleMania.
WWE.
That is a conversation for another time.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, yeah.
Well-
I hope that does not happen. I'm sorry.
I know. Well, thank you, Joey. I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming
Yes.
on.
Thank
It's
you.
been a great time.
Thank you guys.
It's
Appreciate
been
it.
fun.
Absolutely.
And also, don't forget to drink local beer. Cold Creek Brewery is our official sponsor of the Stephen J Sports Podcast. And this is episode 6. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week for our final episode of this season.
All set.